Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here, Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's Monday, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, I can see Brent in the wings, and I think this is the first time that he's really kind of listened to some of the stuff, and he is just laughing. I want to find out why he's laughing when he gets on, but yeah. So happy Monday. Reach out and say good morning where y'all are listening from. Jim has come to the conclusion that I've spent enough time in Texas and Oklahoma that I'm a local.
She's picking up picking up a little of that country. She's getting a little bit country.
Wait, I'm a little bit country?
Yeah, a little bit.
Are you a little bit rock and roll?
Well,
I just dated ourselves quite. So happy Monday. I hope everyone out there in listener land enjoyed their weekend. It's Christmas parties, all the fun stuff that people have, this time of the year.
Yeah.
We had a pretty low key
We had a nice weekend.
And watched a football game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do, or no, wait.
They finally won.
They finally won.
But
yeah.
Watched the 49ers rookie quarterback get another win. That was fun.
Yeah.
So, we didn't watch it, but we know he did. But yeah, it's all good. We had a good weekend.
Yeah.
Birthday cake and some other fun stuff.
Okay. So anyone wants to get on Jim's good side? Well, everyone's is okay. I don't know if our listeners out there have ever seen sorry, I'm looking at some of these. Are we on Real Success? We should be, George.
Yeah.
And good morning, Tommy. Have you all heard of a Texas sheet cake? I mean, it's done in like a cookie sheet pan thing, and it's like a cakey brownie with all sorts of goodness on it. And Jim, he's so cute. It's so cute. You made me a birthday cake.
Yeah.
So Jim's birthday is on the 21st on winter solstice. He is a solstice baby. For those of you that it makes any difference to you, I happen to be a summer solstice baby. So
I think it's not
yin and
fair.
yang, it's like
I've always complained. It doesn't seem fair that my birthday's on the shortest day of the year. That doesn't seem fair.
Mine's
at all.
on the longest.
Yeah, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. Oh well.
Let's bring Brent in.
Yeah. Hey, let's do that. We're gonna add Brent to the stream. Good
Here
morning.
Here comes the
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
We don't know yet. I don't know. I'm not really quite awake, and
I've only had like one cup of coffee, took a shower, got in a car, rolled in here. So yeah, give me about an hour.
Yeah, Mondays are just hard. That's just all there is to it.
And just so you know, neither one of your birthdays are any longer than the other one. The day is still only 24 hours. It is not any longer in the summer than it is in the winter. It's still a 24-hour day. Now, there's more sunlight for Michelle than your Jim. I'll give you that. But
what I'm hearing is I can still celebrate after dark, is what I'm hearing you say.
Well, I would hope you would. Yes, at that point.
No, only during daylight hours.
I would assume you get a lot of combo presents, though, Jim. With your birthday being that close to Christmas, do you get a lot of that? My wife's is the 27th, so it's 2 days after. And there's a rule that it can't be. Birthday cannot be in Christmas paper. I mean, it's got to be a whole separate thing. So
that was the thing I was about ready to ask: is just do people dare to give her a birthday gift in Christmas wrapping paper? But no.
Well, you got to remember, I'm on the naughty list, so I don't see a lot of Christmas.
A lot of coal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, that made me think of something funny. Can I squirrel for just a minute?
All right.
Okay. So you're all familiar with the Grinch. Right.
Yes,
I mean, Grinch. Okay. So my dad, who passed away this last spring, and I'm going to get emotional too, but he loved to do Grinch gifts. And so like it would just so hilarious. He'd give coal, he'd give, whatever things. And one year, this shows you who my dad is. One year for Christmas, he gave to to one of the kids. He went out and he found a Barbie doll. And he cut all the hair off of the Barbie doll, so it was all. And he shaved hair off of his legs and glued it onto her, and wrapped it in all this like gross paper, and handed it to one of my kids, and he just sat there doing this the whole time. He was so thrilled with himself. So if you all are looking for something fun to do for Christmas, it's just Grinch gift.
Write that down. Well, we just had our white elephant. Jen and I have a white elephant party for friends every year, and we just had it Saturday night. And that would have been a great gift to include in a white elephant right there. So,
and they get a little piece of you. So if they do any voodoo, they got a hair. Yeah. It's all good.
It can't be purchased. And having grown daughters and actually granddaughters now, yes, there's still a few Barbies laying around the house from them, not for me, obviously, but
I got it.
Just in case.
Yeah, of course.
I actually, on the Barbie thing, I actually have a Barbie doll. I do. I have one because my very, 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 very best friend, and there's a lot of varies in there because she's my very best friend, that we were both going through like a career crisis. And so we went out and we got each other Barbie dolls. And I have Danny Barbie doll. That's her name. And she's got Michelle Barbie doll. So we always have each other with each other. It's kind of fun. But so yes, I'm a grown adult that has a Barbie doll.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Well, we're here.
Yeah. So, normally when we have Brent sitting in his office in his background, see, Michelle's just still waking up over here. So when we have Brent on, he's usually on the other podcast. Or
yes, and I'm never on the other podcast.
Pay here stuff. We have a little fun over there, but mostly we talk serious buy here, pay here stuff, because when we have a smart guy like Brent come around, we want to share his wisdom with all of our viewers and listeners, which is up to about 4 or 5 listeners now, Brent. So just so you know, people are, we're building our audience. We were at 3.
It's called intimate crowd. That's what we like.
That's right.
Small steps.
So no, we got, we love to have our listeners tune in and hear Brent. And I got to find out though, I got to ask you a little bit about some of our recent podcast recordings, because we talked about most recently service, and we talked about
it's still in
production. It's going out. So for those of you who are debating about a service department, you're probably going to want to hear what Brent has to say about service before you make that decision. So we'll get that published and get it out there soon. But the other one was on why dealerships fail, and that one's out there on YouTube and other places. You can find why buy here, pay here dealerships fail. So I want to talk about that. But before we talk about buy here, pay here, I had a couple of things to ask you about your travels. You're a well-traveled guy.
Everyone knows who. First off, everyone knows who Brent is, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, we don't care. Okay.
People in Kentucky.
Don't tell them they'll turn off, Michelle. We don't want them to know who I am.
I want. No.
So okay. No, so Brent, for the one person who's listening who doesn't know who Brent is. Brent is a longtime moderator for NCM. 15 years now he's been moderating.
He was Jim's moderator when Jim had a dealership.
That's where you and I met. So then you've been doing that 15 years. Before that, you were a principal in a large operation that was buy here, pay here, right? Were they 100% buy here, pay here, Brent?
We were 100% buy here, pay here.
Very good. And you are currently managing a big number of groups. And how many of them are buy here, pay here?
I have 11 total groups now, 7 of which are buy here, pay here. I've got 2 Harley Davidson 20 groups. I've got a Kia new car 20 group, and I also do a bus motor coach group.
Wow.
So can I get a discount on a Harley through you?
Sure. I've got one group is mostly U.S., and then I've got a group that is all Canadian. So
Canucks.
So
Hey.
Okay.
I grew up in Seattle, so I'm I understand. I understand Canadian language.
For me, the question is, do you have any buy here, pay here Harley groups? That's the thing. Do you want to tote the note on it?
But I do have some buy here, pay here dealers that do motorcycles. So some of them actually have some Harleys in it. Yeah, you bet.
That's what's happening. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's anything you can finance, right? That's the way to go. Yeah.
So
I was going to ask Brent some other questions about his travels, because we know he's a well-traveled guy. These 20 groups vote on where they're going to go, and he goes all over the world doing 20 group meetings. So we want to know, where's the farthest you've traveled with your
20 group
work?
Geographically west, obviously, would be Hawaii. And before everybody, wow, buy here, pay here. That was actually my bus group because one of the members owns a facility in Hawaii. So we went out and did a site visit there. But I've had a buy here, pay here group years ago go to Hawaii. Furthest east, golly, I don't know my geography very well. Probably St. Thomas. I think that's probably the farthest island east that I've been to as far as geographically east. But I was talking with somebody the other day. I've had meetings, I think, in 30 different states, 35 of the 48 contiguous anyway.
Wow.
Had at least one meeting in all those. And I've actually slept, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I've actually slept overnight in 49 of the 50 states. Alaska being the only state that I've never been to, either group wise or personal wise. Yeah. But all the other ones, I've stayed at least a night in a Holiday Inn Express or something. Just believe it or not, just in the 15 years I've been doing this.
Wow.
That's why he's so smart. He stayed in a Holiday Inn Express. You seen those commercials? Somebody knows.
Sorry.
Somebody seen.
I better throw out there, I'm not paid, I'm not reimbursed or endorsed or anything with Holiday Inn Express. But if they're listening, I would definitely adhere to some NIL money if they've got some about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's not get on to hotel and being loyal to a hotel brand, because I swear to you, we are like extra blingy diamond members of Hilton because we always stay at Hampton Inn. And what do we get when we get there?
A parking place.
2 bottles of water.
Yeah.
You got a parking place right up front, though.
We get a what?
There's a parking place for Hilton.
They're always full, and I'm like, where is your parking tag?
Yeah.
We've
So this line,
almost like a handicap. We need one. We are diamond. We get to park anywhere.
Right. So we started, I told Michelle, we're going to make our own sign that says Mega Diamond that we can take with us and plant in the ground. So we can
say,
you like feeling special.
Mega blingy.
Yeah.
So personally, I also know, Brent, that you do a bit of scuba, or is it snorkel?
We do. My wife and I were certified, 27 years ago. And then the kids came. And so then scuba diving took a back seat for about 15 or 16 years. And then the last 10 years or so, we'll take 3 trips a year, typically, just to do that every year. So, yeah.
Where's the furthest you've gone personally then for travel?
Well, that still would be Hawaii, would be the furthest west, and probably St. Thomas. We are, I guess we're pansies when it comes to scuba diving. We won't go to any water temperature that's below like 70 degrees. If we have to wear, big thick wetsuit and gloves, and that's not us. I'm a shorts guy. Give me 80-degree water. Hawaii is probably one of the coldest waters we've been in. It was in the 70s, but we're Caribbean. Give me that 80-degree water.
Yeah, that's not about being a pansy. That's about being smart. That's just making good choices.
I'm not diving under ice. I mean, if I've got to wear a dry suit, it ain't worth it. I mean, I don't want to look like the Michelin Man. I mean, that's not me. It's not me.
Good for you. So I don't want to get away from it without asking, do you currently have any spots open in your 20 groups?
We do. Actually, we kind of break ours up by volume, as far as the number of units sold and the portfolio size. And we have actually an opening in one of our small volume groups and one of our large volume groups. Both each have openings currently.
So what is a small volume group for you, and what's a large volume?
Typically, they're under 10 million in a portfolio, and they're going to run that 25, 30 units a month. And then our large volume typically starts at about 10 million in a portfolio. So they're going to be 50, 60, 100 units a month per location. Is typically where they run.
Yeah, I can just speak for Brent as an outstanding moderator, knows his stuff, and runs a good meeting. And so he would be somebody to talk to before making a choice in a 20 group. So we know
there's some really great 20 groups out there, and we always, when people say 20 group, it's like there are great options. Go check them all out, and see what
was a member of both at NCM, and then back when Liederman Associates was still doing 20 groups, I was a member of both. And I encourage dealers to be in a 20 group. If it's NCM, great, we'd love to have you, but just be in one just for the access to other dealers that are going through the same thing, the education, the information. You get so much out of 20 group meetings. Again, not a plug for us, but just be a part of one.
In general,
regardless of who is going to be your facilitator, but just be part of one, because the education, what you get for it is, to me, well worth it. More than worth it.
Especially when you think about we're navigating kind of a weird time, in buy here, pay here, and every indication is going to be bumpy for a couple of years here. So being in a group where you can kind of get some feedback and make some decisions that are based on some good collective information is probably the way to go, instead of trying to figure this stuff out on your own, because there definitely are some adjustments to be made in a buy here, pay here operation right now.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's. Like I said, Jim, probably not a more important time. I get a lot from dealers. Well, I want to get my business in better shape before I join a 20 group. Well, it's kind of the opposite of what you would want to do. You want to kind of use that, lean on that as a way to develop your business. And again, right now, just sharing what's going on. I mean, we all know inventory is crazy. But again, what are you doing with deal structure and people? It's hard to find good people right now and keep good people. And what better way than to have 17 or 18 other dealers from across the country that you can pick up the phone, call, email, see 3 or 4 times a year and just share experiences with.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we enjoyed the Tote the Note series that we've been doing on the hardest questions. That's been fun. The most recent one, as I said, that we recorded was around service. So I might have you just share for our listeners. I know that, among the themes that I took away from our time together on that recording was that, you are a believer in having a service department. I think I asked you, if you were to open a dealership yourself tomorrow, would you have a service department? The answer was a clear yes. So you want to explain to people where that comes from?
Well, I'm a control freak, Jim, probably more than anything else. But, and those that out there know me go, yep, that's the guy I know. That's
the first step is admitting that you have a problem. So.
This is the first step to recovery. So,
right, that's right.
And again, especially in today's environment, more than ever, and it is tougher to run a shop now, I think, than it's ever been, because again, technicians are hard to find and what we've got to pay them. But still, to have that control over the process from start to finish, I think is imperative. I just do it. And I know some dealers that have never had a service department, will not have one, and have great access to sublets out there in their market that they've got a great relationship and have for years. But I think that's even tougher now than it's ever been, because everybody's busy. And I would love to sublet, because as I mentioned on the podcast, I think a shop is a daycare center. I just do. It is probably the most high maintenance, or was in my experience back when I used to work for a living, probably the highest maintenance area of my business by far was the shop. But when it comes to controlling costs and even controlling risk to a certain extent, that's the part that I definitely wanted my hands on. So if I could find that sub that would put me at the top of the list and not upsell my customers and not tear my head off and not do stuff I didn't authorize, then that may be a solution. But I don't know that I could do that consistently in today's environment.
No, I follow. Yeah, it's a control element. I think my version of that was something along the line of, I hear you. It's absolutely an opportunity to control and manage that. But my least favorite part of business anymore is managing the people. Not that I don't love people. It's just that the people part of the business is sometimes the most frustrating and challenging, part of being in business. So, until they get the robots to the place where they can replace the transmission, then
the other thing too, when you talk about controls, we talk to a lot of different dealers out there, and I've got something really weird happening here. Okay, good. Crisis averted.
And we're back.
Is the costs, is that if you're not in control of what is being bought, what is, like your inventory for parts and where you're sourcing them and all of that what I've seen from outside perspective is that can easily get out of control, and then it's like a money pit. For you.
And like I said, some of the higher volume dealers, they're going to have 16, 18 bay shops to be able to keep up. And is that even cost effective? And that's where I know that the struggles are now. And it was, again, back when we had our shop. I mean, it started out as basically 4 or 5 or 6 bays, so we could do 20 or 35 cars a month with 2 locations. But when we got to 12 locations and we're doing 800 cars a month, and I was still this spoken hub kind of guy that I had one shop that did all of my recon, then it becomes a 12-bay shop that's almost running two shifts a day just to try to keep up. And then you start wondering, okay, maybe is it better now that I sub? And I know there's some very high volume, very good operators out there that really don't have their own shop. And Car-Mart, to a certain extent, does not do their own shop. A lot of that stuff is subbed out. But again, for me, it was the control. And you're right, Jim, the people thing, I promise you, the people thing is what keeps me in retirement right now. I promise you.
Yeah.
Because I hear the struggles of finding good people, keeping good people. They don't show up for work.
Mhm.
And if everybody was talking about how great their employees are, I might come out of retirement.
Yeah.
But since they're still complaining about how bad they are, I
Yeah.
think I'm going to stay in my nice, cushy retirement chair for now.
Yeah. Does NCM know you're retired? You're just calling it retirement. I mean, I don't know if that's.
Well, I don't think they're on this, so they're not going to hear that.
Okay.
But,
Yeah. They don't listen. They don't. Yeah.
What? They're not.
No, but I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, I travel the country. I get to stay in nice places. I get
Of
to
course.
talk a business and an industry that I absolutely love, that has given me everything that I have, because this is really all I've ever done is this customer base for 30 something years now. So to have the opportunity to get paid to do it.
Yeah.
No
Yeah. We knew exactly what you meant. And you got a good situation there. You seem to really enjoy what you do, and you bring a lot of value to the industry. So yeah, good for you.
Well, when we heard, I think that what it was about 6 or 9 months ago, we were chatting and you were saying that how many groups you had, and then the next time we talked, it's like you said, yeah, I've added some.
Yeah.
And you like to sleep in your own bed once in a while.
I know, right? And your wife probably appreciates that too.
Well, probably not as much as you might think. There's a 72-hour window. If I'm home longer than that, it gets a little.
When are you leaving?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, actually.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There you go. There you go. Does she ever travel with you?
She does. She likes to come to cool places, that's for sure. I mean, she doesn't go to Atlanta and Chicago. For those of you in Atlanta and Chicago, really cool cities, don't get me wrong, but she does travel quite a bit, and we've been very fortunate to establish some great friendships across the country over the last 15 years. So gets the opportunity to come with me on those as well.
We look forward to the day we get to meet her. So because we do this.
Yeah.
And on occasion.
I might just throw in a quick mention for NCM. For those not familiar with NCM, I was familiar. Like, as I said, Brent was my moderator, so I was part of an NCM group, and I knew NCM before that all happened. But NCM is really the firm that's credited with kind of starting the whole 20 group process back in the 40s. And that's for those younger listeners, we're talking 1940s. And then
not that everyone was 40.
Yeah, they've got some gray hair. We're talking 1800s here. We're talking 1940s, and so they've obviously got that process well dialed in. They've been doing it a long time, and have that figured out. And I think way back when they started, of course, they weren't doing buy here, pay here. Do you know when they stepped into the buy here, pay here space, or when they started?
The very first one, I believe, was 96 or 97.
Okay.
And then a gentleman by the name of Chris Leadham, some may know Chris, actually worked for us at NCM and wanted to develop a buy here, pay here independent kind of division. And unfortunately, at that time, NCM was quite short-sighted and didn't think, we were all new car pretty much at that point, and didn't know that that's really the direction we needed to go. So Chris actually left NCM, and started Leadham. And then NCM saw that he was having success and then put full resources in it. I believe 1999
Gotcha.
is when they kind of got into the buy here, pay here independent use space. So about 22, 23 years now that we've been doing buy here, pay here independent used. 1947 actually was our very first 20 group, a Ford group, which we still have that same group today. And there are, I believe, I'm going to have to check on this, but I believe 3 or 4 legacy members.
How about that?
That are still in that group, obviously grandsons, great grandsons of original members, but that group is still together today.
Still,
really cool.
That even generational, that's a lot of legacy knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
There's a question about what's your
well, great question, but believe it, if you're talking about, I'm backwards here. If you're talking about that picture there, this one right here, that's actually me, not Tiger. So thank you. I'm very flattered that you would think that's Tiger, but that's actually me on a family trip to Scotland many years ago with my brother and his son. Current handicap says I'm a 10-4, but I'm probably closer to a 12 or 13 in reality. So
wait, okay. I asked you earlier, where's the farthest you've traveled? Is Scotland further than Hawaii?
I was going to say, I was thinking more business wise, but I guess Scotland would be, I don't know if that's east or technically west, but
Oh, good.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, holy
It's west.
cow.
It's a hell of a long way.
So where have you gone that's the furthest, Brent? We're going to rephrase the question.
Yeah, now, you get to be my age, you kind of forget.
Yeah.
Personally, Janet and I had the opportunity years ago to go to the island of Rhodes in Greece.
Oh, wow.
Janet's sister, her husband, his family is from the island and actually owns a resort there, a hotel there. And so years ago, Janet and I got to go, and all we had to do is pay for our flight, and they were nice enough to put us up. So yes, I guess world traveler, but many, many, many years ago. Scotland was 15 and Greece wasn't too long after we got married. So I'd say probably 92, 93.
Wow.
So probably 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's
cool. Yeah. So there's that's a ton of stuff. That's a lot of great travel. By the way, I think Brent has a hole-in-one to his credit. Am I right? You have a hole-in-one?
I have 3 actually.
Oh, good for you. Wow.
There's a joke.
What?
That reminded me of a joke that
I know, she's like, there's no way he's not good enough to have 3.
No, that wasn't the joke. The
joke.
Yeah, I can't really tell the joke exactly because I don't remember all the pieces, but you probably heard the joke about the preacher who skipped church to play golf. You know that joke?
So.
You really kind of have to tell it.
So St. Peter's talking to God, and he's like,
aren't you going to punish
him? And he's like, wait.
And then the preacher hits a hole-in-one.
And he's like, aren't you going to punish him? And he says, who's he going to tell?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's punishment, right? Yeah. The golfer would get that for sure. Yeah. No, we should let you go. I think we appreciate you making time to chat. And so we definitely want to make sure that Brent, people know how to find Brent, that you can find him at bcarmichael@ncmassociates.com, right? That's an email. You can also call him at like 4 a.m. and he'll answer the phone. And
no, we haven't done that yet.
Don't do that. So
we're not sharing your
phone. What time zone I'm in, and I might, there's a possibility if I happen to be on the West Coast, that's 7 a.m. and I'm usually up and around by then for sure. So
yeah.
So again, there's lots of great places to find a 20 group. Brent, you heard, has got a couple of spots. So if you're looking at a 20 group going into 2023, I would definitely recommend you talk to him before you make a decision and find out what's a good fit for you. And because we know NCM is well established in that space and has a long history of benchmarks and buy here, pay here, and a lot of good information, a lot of good operators in their groups already. So it would definitely be somebody you'd want to talk to before you make that decision. But again, Brent, we appreciate you making time. I think that that subject of the Tote the Note thing should be released in about a week. And so for those out there thinking about service department and making a decision about that, probably want to wait and hear that one.
Yeah.
Well, and guys, thank you, Jim and Michelle. Thank you guys for what you do. With this, I think this is phenomenal what you're doing for the industry, for dealers out there, giving them the opportunity to get an education. You probably don't hear it enough, but I thank you. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to participate with you guys. It's a lot of fun. And again, just from a dealer education standpoint, we need more people like you out there just willing to say, look, let's help. I mean, whatever we can do to help give you the resource, give you the opportunities, give you the pathways to reach out to other people that can help. So great. Thank you guys very much. Again, appreciate the opportunity to be on this morning. Anything I can do to help you guys, don't ever hesitate to call and ask.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So we feel kind of semi-retired and having fun over here ourselves. So we get it. So thank you again for making time.
And I have to say, I've really enjoyed getting to know you too. So it's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Definitely, like we've got to. Like I said, I see Jim. I've known Jen forever, but we've got to meet in person, and sometimes our paths have got to cross somewhere at some point.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I know, like we've run into like Bill Elizondo, who's with NIADA, and we finally had the opportunity to meet his wife too. So that was a pleasure. So it's just I love with different people in the industry that we get to know. It's really fun to meet their other half and to have a do bourbon.
I am not a big bourbon person myself. I'm kind of a beer guy, but I have become a lot more well versed in it. Yes, over the 15 years I've lived here in Kentucky.
Yeah, well, so we like the smoked old fashioned thing is a thing. for us.
Yeah.
So so if we ever get together and we coordinate schedules and can meet in the same place,
we could probably ask the bartender to smoke you a beer.
I'm not sure how good that would be.
Offline, get me your address, and I have access to a lot of bourbons here, just in the Louisville or just in the Kentucky area that you cannot get outside the state of Kentucky. So
really,
I didn't know that you guys were bourbon foodies, and we can actually ship it out of the state now, which we weren't able to before the pandemic. And they kind of
really?
we weren't able to. Yeah. So we've got some things in place. So give me your one of your addresses, because it seems like you guys live in about 4 different places. But
right now we're in Oklahoma. So
don't say it like that.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Every morning we wake up, we go, Oklahoma, where the women come sleeping.
Do that. Yeah.
Every day. All right. Have a great. You too. Have a great rest of your day, Brent. Really appreciate you coming, and stick around, and we'll chat for just a second after we've wrapped up the show. Okay. All right. Thanks. Good. All right. Well, happy Monday. We're really glad that everyone has joined us today, and we have a couple of just. For the rest of the week, we've got Wednesday. This is just driving me nuts. On Wednesday, we're going to be talking on White Hat Wednesday, talking about perspectives, and this is something we were talking about last week, and it's like, no, that's a white hat. So we've kind of been brewing on that one. And then on Friday, we have the Coffee Guys. They have their own podcast. It's kind of like franchise,
Fred
independent, and so they'll be on the show on Friday. So that's about it.
Don't forget our webinar coming up on the 29th. At the end of the month, we're doing a webinar. And by the way, quickly, we've got these panelists confirmed: Jason Goodman, Maggie Pagesic, Terry McCauley, and David Norton will be our panelists, who will be talking about how to convert more of those web leads into appointments.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we will catch you on Wednesday.